And we are so grateful and we are thankful. And he has a lot. You know, the president said, listen to them, listen to their stories. And you look at what sacrifices that he made. All of them, look at the sacrifices that they've made. Now, we look at how our community came in and say, don't fight, don't go in, you know, that trail that we came in. If it wasn't for Imam Deen Mohammed, if it wasn't for him, all of that sacrifice would have been in vain. You know, they had let it go. You know, Muhammad Ali, you know, the medal he got, he threw it away. But after Imam Muhammad, he picked it back up, didn't he? Got another. These individuals, their sacrifice is not in vain, but it has been validated. That they've offered a great service of sacrifice to their nation. And we have two of them, they're still dealing with combat situations. Both of them. Let's give another round of applause, please. Okay, we're going to bring our Sister Amatullah back up to introduce two of our guests. They're going to be leaving, but we want to hear from them. And they're public servants. So we thank them for being here with us, and we'll bring up our Sister Amatullah to make the introductions.
We thank Brother Kareem for that wonderful talk. And he's the commander of the South Suburbs Khalid Abdul Aziz Post. And I also want to share with you, we have our sister editor, Aisha Mustafa, who is also an auxiliary member. So I just want to let you know that. We'd like to introduce to you a person of this community, Tinley Park. She's Trustee Patricia Leone, Mayor Pro Tem of the village of Tinley Park, Illinois. She's one of 6 trustees and stands in for the Mayor Zabrowski when he is absent. In other words, right now she's kind of Mayor Patricia Leone. And she's a very warm and welcoming person, and we'd like for her to come and give us a few remarks.
Thank you very much for that introduction. On behalf of Mayor Zabrowski, the Village Board, and the citizens of Tinley Park, welcome. Welcome to Tinley Park. It is an honor to be here today with all of you. Thank you for choosing Tinley Park as your venue to host your 24th convention. I understand your mission emphasizes community life, family, and marriage. The citizens of Tinley Park share these same values. These core beliefs help Tinley Park to be recognized nationally as the best place to raise your family. We hope you enjoyed your stay. I know today's the last day of your convention in Tinley Park, and it seems like you've had a wonderful and successful convention. I hope you've had an opportunity to enjoy our village, our restaurants, our hotels, some of the touring attractions that we have. Thank you very much for inviting me. I've really enjoyed it, and I've learned a lot. It's been a great opportunity. Thank you.
Our next guest speaker we'll have is someone who many of you know and love, Brother Roderick Bashir, who is a trustee and elected official of the village of Hazelcrest, Illinois. He was appointed by Governor Patrick Quinn to the Illinois State Board of Investment, second term. He's the former Vice President of Service Employees International Union, Local Number 1. I give you Brother Roderick Bashir.
Thank you, Sister Amatullah. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. With Allah's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer. I am a witness that there is nothing worthy of worship except Allah alone, and I am a witness that Muhammad, to whom the Quran was revealed, is Allah's prophet and the seal of the prophets. To our brother Deen Mohammed II, thank you again for your work of keeping the memory of our late leader alive and functioning in our lives. You've already heard from our keynote speaker who talked about service, sacrifice, and influence. Service and sacrifice are things that we can do pretty much on a regular and continuous basis. But influence, on the other hand, is something that's fleeting. You must take advantage of it when the door is open. And on that basis, I've said to many of you in this room over a number of years, Hazel Crest is waiting for you. We're looking for you to relocate to Hazel Crest. We need a community of our own. The influence is there, the door is open, and influence is a fleeting thing, as I leave you with that. So thank you very much for your attendance here today. I also want to remind you that there is a resolution on the books in Hazel Crest recognizing Imam Deen Mohammed Day in Hazel Crest. One of these days we're going to have to take advantage of it and have a tribute in Hazel Crest to our leader who asked us to move to the south suburbs and rid ourselves of some of the problems, the unnecessary problems that we found and that we find in the big cities. So thank you very much, Madam Trustee. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you for being here. We appreciate Tinley Park. And as she mentioned, she said that Tinley Park is the #1 city to raise a family in. I read that it is the #1 livable city in the United States of America. So thank you for being here. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Brother Rashid, for that. And our next guest we'd like to introduce you to is a very distinguished guest, Kathleen Bankhead. She is the Assistant State's Attorney for Community Justice Center, and she is representing Anita Alvarez, State's Attorney for Cook County, Illinois. Without further ado, I'll bring my sister up.
I believe protocol has already been established, so I'm going to try to do this very quickly. First of all, the state's attorney, Anita Alvarez, sends her regrets. She was unable to attend today, and I was asked if I would come and speak at this magnificent conference. So I'm a lawyer, so what lawyers do is we deal in evidence, we deal in facts and information. And so I'm going to give you some information today, and I'm going to ask you to do the 3 things that I've heard repeatedly since I came in. I'm going to ask you to sacrifice some time. I'm going to ask you to serve somebody by letting them know what you heard today. And I'm going to ask you to influence young people in your community, whether it be your religious community, your neighborhood, your school, wherever you work, play, and live. It's important that we gather up our young folk and get them back on the right track. First of all, let me say this, that this generation of young people is the best generation of young people that we have had in 40 years. I know you don't believe it because you haven't heard it. Now you have. And what's the evidence? The evidence is in the facts. The fact is that they have fewer unwed teenage pregnancies. They use less drugs and use them less often. They are more educated and they are more peaceful than any generation. The crime rate is down to levels that it hasn't been at since the late 60s, and including violent crime is down to levels it hasn't been at since the early 70s. Now I know you don't believe me, but I want you to think back, way back, to when we were growing up in the 60s and 70s, and think about the violence and the drugs that came to bear during those times. This is a great generation of young people, and we need to tell them so as often as we can. So I'm going to tell you about 3 things. I'm going to tell you about the gun laws, I'm going to tell you about the Community Justice Center, and then I'm going to get out your way. So when the state's attorney, Anita Alvarez, ran for state's attorney, she promised that if she won, she would reopen community prosecution centers. And so she's done that. There are 4 in the city of Chicago. I happen to work at the one on the south side, west side of the city, at 91st and Cottage Road. We concentrate in 3 areas of law enforcement and public service. 1 is prosecution, of course, because we're prosecutors. 2 is intervention.